really amazing thing. You know, it doesn't matter who I work with, whether it's Usher or Rob Thomas, or people coming in who are singing for their church choirs, or people who are just in local rock and roll bands. I always try to ask the same 3 questions up front to find out how much they know or how much they don't know about their voices. One of the questions is, how many vocal cords do you have? The second question is, what are they made out of? And the third question is, where are they located? And I'm always amazed at how many people can't answer those 3 simple questions about their own voices. And I kind of figured that if you don't know what you're doing something with, how can you be the best at it? So part of what I'd like to do is talk with you about your vocal cords so that you understand more about them, and also how they work, and just exactly what they are that you're trying to pin the rest of your career on. So let's answer that question. How many vocal cords do you have? You have 2. You have a pair. You have 2 eyes, you have 2 ears, you have 2 hands, you have 2 vocal cords. The cool thing about your vocal cords is they're unique to the body, and there's nothing that medical science or modern technology has been able to come up with to replace or duplicate their function. So they can take my heart out of my chest and put it in your body and make it work. Take your eyeballs out of your head after you're dead and put them in somebody else's face that they could see with them. They just put a new titanium hip in my mother, and she's walking around. Isn't that incredible? But they can't replace your vocal cords. Your vocal cords are so unique to the body. People call them sometimes the window to your soul, because it's how we feel like we express who we are. But really what they are 2 really fine strips of cartilage. A lot of people think that they're like a muscle, but muscles are a little bit different from your vocal cords. Every other muscle system in your body simply expands and contracts, expands and contracts. Where the vocal cords, with their little teeny tiny fibers, stretch and they thin out. So they actually change thickness or thinness while they're vibrating, and that's what makes our pitch change and go up or down. Your vocal cords are kind of like all 6 guitar strings rolled into one. On a guitar you have 6 strings. You have the big fat string on the bottom, and it's the low note, and it vibrates the slowest, and it's also the loosest. Whereas the tighter strings, the thinner strings, are the ones that are higher. Your vocal cords, as they're fatter and looser, vibrate slower, and that's what gives us low notes. So when you pull them tighter and go up higher, they get thinner, and that makes them vibrate quicker. So you have 2 vocal cords. They're made out of soft cartilage, kind of like the cartilage in your ear, just really fine strips of it. And where are they located? Right here, in your throat, in your larynx, over your windpipe. A lot of people think that whatever they drink passes through their vocal cords. I hope not, because then you would choke, because your vocal cords are over your windpipe. Air is what creates sound and vibration. So with the air coming up through the vocal cords and then vibrating and changing density is how we sing and talk and get all the different sounds that we're capable of. So it's really important for vocalists to always stay hydrated. And since the water doesn't pass directly through your vocal cords, you want to be drinking water most all day long. It takes about 20 minutes for 1 sip of water to get back up to the vocal cords to rehydrate them. And the only way that you can directly hydrate the voice is by breathing steam. So taking a nice long hot shower before you go into the booth or before you walk on stage is great. Or buying one of those little personal facial steamers. A lot of my clients keep those backstage or in the booth when they're fixing to record, and that's a great way to keep the vocal cords hydrated before you're having to sing. So let's talk about drugs and alcohol and smoking, anything, and how that affects you as a singer. Since air is sound, it kind of doesn't make sense for people to smoke, because smoke inhalation will kill you. For example, if this building caught on fire right now, I wouldn't go walking down the hall and go because it would kill me. So smoking is really contraindicated for a singer for a couple of reasons. One reason is because it fills your lungs up with smoke and tar and really prohibits the process of having greater air capacity. And it breaks down the lung tissue and the bronchi, which are what give you your strength as a singer. The second thing it does, or really kind of the first thing it does, because it passes through your vocal cords before it ever even gets into your lungs, is it dries out the vocal cords really bad and can damage them also because of the nicotine and the chemicals that go through them. So for my clients who smoke things other than cigarettes, the smoke is much more dense and has much more effect going down. It'll burn the tissue so much more. It's a heavier smoke and can really fill up the lungs, and it destroys the tissue a lot quicker because of the density of the smoke.